It's strange how the quiet moments in life sometimes turn into the ones that stay with us forever. My name is Emily, and when I look back now, I realize that the most unexpected turn in my life didn't come with loud announcements or dramatic declarations. It happened softly, when no one was watching, in the kind of spaces where silence feels like its own language. I had known Ryan for years. He wasn't just my friend. He had become one of those constants you stop questioning after a while. We met in college, when I was overwhelmed with classes, part-time jobs, and all the insecurities that come with being young and trying to figure yourself out. Ryan was different. He was steady, thoughtful, the kind of person who listened more than he spoke. Our friendship grew not from some grand moment, but from everyday things, sharing notes, laughing over bad cafeteria food, studying late into the night in the library. Years passed, and while many of my friendships faded, ours didn't. We stayed connected through life's twists, new jobs, moving to different cities, family struggles, and even heartbreaks that left us both in tears more than once. We weren't the kind of friends who needed to talk every day, but when we did, it felt like picking up from the same sentence we left off. It wasn't until I turned 28 that I began to notice the moments between us more closely. One afternoon, we met at a local coffee shop downtown. The place had old brick walls, string lights hanging across the ceiling, and that warm scent of roasted beans that made the air feel alive. Ryan was telling me about a project at work, something about a presentation he had to lead. I laughed at how nervous he sounded, but then, as he kept talking, I caught myself just watching him. The way his eyes lit up when he spoke, the way he brushed his hand through his hair, it all felt familiar, but suddenly different. I shook the thought away quickly. This was Ryan, my friend, my safe place. But the thought lingered somewhere at the back of my mind, like a note that refused to stop playing. Weeks later, he invited me to join him for a hike. The weather was perfect, early fall, when the trees start painting themselves in shades of orange and gold. We walked through the trails, leaves crunching under our shoes, and talked about everything and nothing. At one point, he noticed my hands were cold and, without hesitation, offered his jacket. It wasn't unusual, but when I slipped into it, the warmth felt different. My heart fluttered, though I tried to hide it with a smile. There were no witnesses, no one to interpret what was happening. Just us, and a quiet that spoke louder than words. Another night, we ended up on his porch after a small gathering with mutual friends. Everyone else had left, but we stayed behind, sipping tea, while soft string lights glowed above us. We talked about old dreams, the ones we had in college, and laughed about how life never really turned out the way we thought it would. He told me he sometimes wondered if he had missed something important along the way. I wanted to ask him what he meant, but I held back. Instead, I found myself watching him as he spoke, the way his voice softened in the night air, the way his presence made the world feel less heavy. And for a brief second, I thought he was looking at me the same way. That look lingered long enough for my heart to question everything. Still, nothing was said. Days turned into weeks, and little by little, the spaces between us began to shift. There was the evening we got caught in the rain while leaving the bookstore, both of us scrambling under his umbrella, laughing like we were kids again. There was the night I called him after a rough day at work, and instead of trying to fix anything, he just listened until my voice steadied again. And then, there were the silences. Those moments when neither of us spoke, yet the air felt full of unspoken words. I started writing about it in my journal. I didn't write his name, but every entry carried his presence. I described the way I felt lighter after seeing him, or how my heart seemed to recognize something my mind wasn't ready to admit. One night, as I sat by my window, pen in hand, I asked myself a question that terrified me. What if this was more than friendship? And if it was, what would happen if I said it out loud? The fear wasn't just about rejection. It was about losing him. Ryan wasn't just someone I cared about. He was the person I trusted most. To risk that bond felt like standing on the edge of something too fragile to survive a fall. But then came the evening that changed everything. We had gone to the lake, one of our favorite spots since college. The sun was setting, the sky melting into shades of gold and rose. I sat there, staring at the calm water, when Ryan spoke softly. "Emily," he said, almost hesitant. Do you ever feel like we're holding something back? My heart raced. I turned to him, searching his face for clarity. His expression was careful, but his eyes held something I had seen before, something I had chosen to ignore. I mean, he continued, we've been friends for so long, and sometimes it feels like there's more to it. But I don't want to assume anything. The world seemed to pause. I could hear my heartbeat, the rustle of leaves, the distant call of a bird. I could have stayed silent, could have let the moment pass like so many others. But something inside me broke free. Yes, I whispered. I feel it too. The words hung in the air, fragile yet powerful. For the first time, we didn't look away. There was no audience, no one to judge or misunderstand, just us, finally giving voice to what had always lingered in the spaces between. That evening didn't end with grand gestures or dramatic declarations. It ended with a quiet promise, unspoken yet understood. That whatever this was, we would explore it carefully, together, without losing the friendship that had carried us this far. And so, our story began, not in front of the world, but in the quiet moments when no one was watching. What followed were days filled with the same routines, but colored with a new tenderness. The coffee shop conversations felt warmer, the walks through the park felt closer, the silences felt more meaningful. It wasn't about rushing into anything. It was about letting the connection grow naturally, just as our friendship always had. Looking back now, I realized that love doesn't always arrive with a storm. Sometimes, it comes softly, in the spaces no one else sees, in the moments too small for the world to notice, but big enough to change your life forever. And for me and Ryan, that was exactly what happened when no one was watching.